How you doing, everybody? I'm Kitt, Kiarie, and this is Martin.
Hey guys.
Welcome back to the channel. People have been asking for you. People have been wondering where you are, and here you are.
Here I am.
Yes, after many days of begging you to come back on.
Yeah.
Well, but you're a busy guy.
I wouldn't say you begged.
What did I say?
You ask once, then move on with your life.
And then you feel type of way.
But now we had the opportunity, and I'm so glad.
The opportunity and time, and absolutely.
Despite the throbbing headache I have right now.
Yes.
I'm so excited to do this.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get on with it then.
Let's do this.
Yay! And if you like this kind of content, what are they going to do?
Like and subscribe. Oh, sorry.
You're here now. You're here now. Okay, so let's get to know you. All right. What's the most important lesson you've learned from a business failure or setback?
Failure. So my first business, which was called Exemplar Technologies. In fact, if you Google, you'll see. That business failed. But what I learned from that one was kind of the idea of where you start is where you'll end. And to make sure you end right, start right. And what I meant here is I was targeting the wrong customers. So we were doing what, marketing, which is what Bean does very well. But we were doing it for clients who didn't have the ability to pay. They desired the service, but they didn't have the ability to pay at the time. And so we were really stretched for resources. And actually Bean's the reason we started Bean was, to do the same thing for people who not only value it, but could also pay for it, which was the corporate space. So yeah, that was the one thing I learned, that when you start a business, think of who needs it most, yes, but also... And
target them directly.
But also think of who would be willing to pay for it. Because it may not necessarily be the case, but those who need the product would be willing to pay for it,
Unless it's a charity, or in which case you're giving it out for free.
For free, but if you're trying to create value and capture that value back so you can sustain the business, don't always go, people would desire, what, or... I could, I've said what I've said. It's like saying, you know what? People who don't have means, or people who are strained financially, need better transport. You look at people in the slums who walk to work, maybe 10 kilometers one way to industrial area. Then you say, you know what? I'm going to invent a car that is worth, what's the like, 800,000.
Right. For them.
So they would want the car.
They need
the car. But can they afford it?
Right.
So now that's when you make sure, and that's where innovation lives, because then now you start designing either a better shoe so that they can walk more comfortably.
Yeah, or those like scooters we see around.
Or scooters, something more affordable that answers the need. So just make sure you are answering the need for someone who would be willing to pay for it.
Nice, you got that. Yeah. If you could go back in time and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be? It's a trick question. No. Because now you know stuff now that you didn't know then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know why I asked that such a question? You can't, you know, very likely if you go back and give yourself advice, you won't get anything. Like
no, but it's you
process,
now. Okay, no, I understand. I completely
process.
say, I've understood what you've said, but it's you now at this age, this old age, going back and telling your 20-year-old self, I'm Martin from the future, and I just want to say, da-da-da.
I don't know whether I would, like, I wouldn't, and this is my honest answer, I wouldn't.
Yeah, because I know you feel like all your experiences have taught you something, has made you who you are.
Yeah, and you can't skip that. Like, you can't fast track that process.
It's not even about fast track. It's maybe about how to deal or how to navigate.
Okay, let me say, if I was to talk to a younger other person called Michael, not Martin.
Okay.
And but anyway, if I was to go back to my younger self, I think what I'd tell myself is, you don't need to stress. It's something I'm also telling myself now. Like, there's, you know, I have a lot of anxiety as a man. I'm riddled with fears of, will I be able to provide? Will I be able to, you know, and kind of getting some sense of security and safety from being able to do that, but just, you know, humbling yourself and leaving space for God. I think I'd probably tell myself, leave more space for God. Do what you can do your best at any time, and give yourself permission for your best to be 100% today, 10% tomorrow, 50% the other day, 100% the other day, but don't riddle yourself with anxiety, because it doesn't change anything. Just keep doing your best. That's what I tell myself.
Really?
Yeah, just keep doing your best.
All right. Share one funny or embarrassing mistake you made early on in your marriage, in your relationship, and what you learned from it.
I mean, my mistake was choosing Kitt. Kitt ni mgumu.
Martin, you said that on the internet. These people.
Not on the internet yet. Anyway, so okay, you know, unfortunately, I don't believe in mistakes, but
what do you mean you don't believe in mistakes?
Because you're still here, it's not a mistake. It would have been a mistake if you weren't here. A mistake is judged by its outcome. Are you gone? You're not gone. Anyway. Okay, there are things I'm thinking, but I can't say on camera.
What?
Yeah. I can't say. Okay, that one I can't. But those doesn't mean you're funny. Anyway, so I think a big learning I had and a mistake I had was I came into the marriage with the idea of, now it's going to be a double income home, and a lot of the financial stress will be relieved.
You had financial stress before we were married.
So even before life busy.
You inherited financial stress.
Absolutely. I'm sure you know what I mean there.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
So you know, so when we got married, I had these expectations of how we would operate. You'd have a job, I'd be doing my thing, be coming to home in the evening, you know, and all that. But of course, in the first run of our marriage, that never happened.
And I was still in university. Remember? Like for the first year of our marriage, I was still in university.
Oh, you were?
And you were.
Are you serious? You hadn't graduated?
No. You don't remember?
I am literally.
You don't remember you taking me to school? You coming to school events? Oh my God.
It's because we dated for 19 years before we got married. So, like, at the boundary, to me, is very vague.
I graduated in 2012. We got married in 2011.
I
I didn't
know.
What didn't you know? What didn't you know?
I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, and even after that, it was a while before you got your income going, and so I was and the mistake I made was, that I was pushing. I pushed you to apply for jobs and stuff, which was kind of not in line with where you wanted to go, and it created an environment of pressure, right? But all it was doing was kind of projecting that safety that I was seeking. So it was a big learning, and again, this idea of especially true leadership, it's just, I've come to realize, it's just lead yourself, let others be inspired by how you're constantly leading yourself. Don't bother about others. So
I like that, honey.
Yeah. So that was I don't think it was a mistake, but it was a learning. Everyone follows their own process at their own time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could collaborate with any business icon or influencer, not me, who would it be?
Kiarie. Oh, sorry.
Literally, in parentheses.
Yeah.
Not me.
I'd say James Mwangi.
Who is that?
Of Equity, the CEO, the founders, CEO of Equity Bank. If I could partner or collaborate with him, I think that would be very interesting.
What would you do?
From a global perspective, I'm really not what. So, personally, I know my gift and my, around innovation and multiplication, but like it's more who he is than what we do. You know what I mean? The size of his, like, I'd be so challenged that whatever we decided to do would just be awesome. I think I'd be so challenged by the scale of his thinking, that whatever it is that we do together would be first big, and then of course, because I'm there, it would be really market shifting. So that's one person. From someone I've followed on the media a lot, it's a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V. I think I'd partner with him as well, because he
has limitless thinking as well.
Absolutely. And I sometimes think I have limitless thinking, but when I meet people who share my values but are doing it on such I like being the fool among kings. So these are the people I feel are quite king-like. And I'd love to. I feel like I'd be a fool in their presence. And I'd enjoy that.
And imagine there's people who consider you king-like.
Can you imagine?
Imagine. So there's just levels to this thing.
Absolutely.
What is the most rewarding aspect of being a husband and a dad?
It's I think the most rewarding aspect for me is just the partnership. It's not the titles mean nothing than the people you do it with. So for me, being a husband to Kitt, because I'm not a husband.
You're not a husband.
What is that? I'm a husband to you. I think, it's the partnership. You challenge me. You definitely are so different from me. So I really lean into. I listen to a lot of the things you advise, because it's a total blind spot. You also really listen to me a lot. I'd say it's an experience of partnership.
So that's the most rewarding part about it, the partnership.
The partnership.
Doing life with someone.
Doing life with with you. That's the most rewarding part.
And being a dad?
You're not necessarily a burden, necessarily.
Baby, so, you keep throwing shade.
No, honey, what is it?
You keep throwing shade, honey.
It is what it is. You asked me to come to the channel, you deal with the consequences. So, being a dad to Kendi and Keo is, and actually, for both, it's just like they're so different.
They're night and
different.
day. They're literally night and day.
And just the experience of experiencing them. I don't know how else to say it. Being responsible for them, teaching them, learning from them, being with them. So I don't know whether I can answer as a dad as opposed to as their dad. And being their dad is it's very challenging. It's because they're both so different, and then they keep changing. So it's learning how to adapt. If I was to give a word, it's learning how to adapt to, and being is it listening? I don't know, being attentive to where they are, what they need, because also their emotional, their EQ and their language is not as advanced, so you have to be so watchful and attentive to know that this one, they're doing this, but actually they're going through this.
You have the patience of a saint. Yeah.
So
that's where you help me, because me, I'm just like,
you're done with them. Well, I'm not like that all the time.
And even then, people still tell me I have a lot of patience.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah. Where I find myself,
but you have patience,
so
actually.
And I find myself so impatient. So I think I'm just like trying. I'm fighting with myself all the time.
Absolutely. The evolution of life. That's how life moves.
Yeah.
You're always fighting yourself.
What is your favorite productivity hack or routine that helps you stay focused and efficient?
I don't know that I stay focused and efficient. But the one thing that has helped me is something I learned about heroic versus post-heroic leadership.
Okay.
And this leadership is not, it's more of self than, so heroic leadership is where you're the superhero. You're always swooping in to fix the day and solve the day. In other words, it's hiring people and hiring yourself back. You're always there doing everything, micromanaging, etc. I think for me, the thing that has opened up, though it comes with some element of, when you're like that, it's because you really care about the outcome.
When you're heroic.
Okay. You really want, whether it's the job to be done well or the pitch to be won.
Yeah.
But to some extent, it always comes from a belief that you're the best. That you are the only one thing that will take it to that level.
Yeah.
And true growth happens, and productivity and efficiency, when you enable that mindset in others, where they are doing that and coming in and giving their best to that process. It was a very hard thing for me to learn because, as I mentioned earlier, you really get your security from your ability to deliver results.
Your ability.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, when you have to, now the biggest hack was for me partnering with others, but also letting them be. So, if there's a reason you partnered with them, and if you feel like you've partnered with someone or hired someone and you still have to do the work, then they're probably the wrong person, or you are the wrong person.
Or you
have the wrong mindset, because 10 people have 240 hours a day, whereas one person has 24.
I like that analogy.
So just increase your efficiency by working with others, but also letting them work.
What is the biggest misconception people have about being an entrepreneur or about running a business?
that first, all of a sudden you're rich. You have your ends have met. Oh God, I honestly think entrepreneurship is a calling.
Yeah.
You either, and there's no ego that you're supposed to. Many people do it for the title as opposed to the result.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where I got it. I think, my dad was definitely an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
My mom had an entrepreneur bag. it's definitely a calling. So there's the misconceptions. One is you're better off. People don't realize you eat last, right? Because when money flows through your business, you pay your suppliers.
You pay your employees.
No. In fact, the first person you pay is the government. Then you pay your suppliers. Then you pay your employees. Then you pay yourself. And that's why I talked earlier about making sure you can capture value. You can imagine, because we're in a very strained economy, and imagine it's crazy thinking to think that you can you can go and create value in this tough economic time in a way that no one has done, that people will be willing to pay, and that you'll pay everyone else before you pay yourself, and you'll be okay. So many people don't. It's a very tough path. Let no one lie to you. But because I personally get more excited about the possibility that is made for others as opposed to myself. When you look at the number of employees that you'd be able to support, and there's something that keeps you going, that even when times are tough, your purpose is more fulfilled than maybe the business. And of course the business will over time, if you're doing the right thing, give you back your value. But so that's it. And the biggest misconception is around the time it takes for you to actually break through in your business.
Because you hear people saying, I want to quit my job and go into business. And I just know in
by the way,
6 months or whatever,
I'll be okay. It's a very, very, with anyone in business, I tell them, give yourself between, I'd say phase 1 where you're getting, some value, maybe you're paying yourself consistently, give it 3 to 5 years. By the time now you've reached a place where you're probably scalable and you're earning dividends properly or whatever, give it 10 years. So I would say the patience required. Business takes so much longer because everyone looks at your business and thinks you're overnight success, or whether it's Facebook or Airbnb. You only heard about it overnight. Those people were in the works for
20 years, 10 years.
So that's the other big misconception that people have about entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. If you had to describe yourself in one word, what word would you use and why? I like how
I would rather you answer that question.
I like how you respond to all the questions with
I would rather you answer that question. How can I describe myself?
Describe yourself. You have to have self-awareness to be able to see that about yourself. One
word: a tenacious optimist.
Okay.
2 words.
There's a hyphen.
There's a hyphen. Okay. Tenacious optimist. I just believe life is. There's a saying: if you think it's bad and you think it's good, you're right.
You're right.
So I just choose to perceive life as something that's for me and my playing field. So I'm an optimist, and sometimes it's very annoying, as I'm sure you'd attest. And then I'm quite tenacious.
I don't know if it's annoying, inappropriate. I would say it was inappropriate.
You're inappropriate to be telling me this on camera. Respect your husband. Nonsense.
What is the most challenging aspect of managing a team? And how do you overcome it?
I think it's managing yourself within that team. The fish rots at the head. And culture of a team, culture of an organization, culture starts with you. The hardest thing is usually to think, how am I showing up that's making the team do like what? Because people are people. And yes, there's the skill which can be tested, but there's the way we do things, which is culture. And more often than not, it's easy to diagnose skill. Like, if you're a mechanic and I give you a car to fix and you can't fix it, it's very clear. You have the wrong skill.
Yes.
But most of the things that stress people
have got nothing to do with
is less about skill, right? Especially stress around leading a team. It's how do they navigate, how do they take their work seriously, are they diligent, etc. Now, the truth is...
Do they play well with others?
Yes, they play. The truth is to ask yourself, and many people believe that they don't have to, they have to manage the team to be those things, but you can't.
Like, do you teach them to be like that?
Beings,
what do you mean by manage them to be like that?
You see, for example, if you want a team that is diligent, right, or dependable, you feel you have to dictate dependability. Guys, we have to be dependable. But just like children, adults learn the same way. They learn when you're not teaching, and that's the true essence.
Yeah, so you're always saying, guys, we have to be dependable. We have to be dependable. But you never pay on time. You
and it
always
might not
late.
even be about your dependability. It may often be about how you react when people are not dependable. And if you react with, oh, how could you, but someone is still there and get their salary, you're kind of teaching the system that, okay, you say dependability is important, but it's not. Or, you make your decisions not based on your principles or what you're standing for, but based on maybe how you feel at the time. Maybe that day you had a really good morning, and probably or maybe one of your team members who brings the most business doesn't live to your principles, but you're always congratulating them. So it's the things you do, and more often than not, as a leader, what you need to do is look at how do I show up. And that's why you really need counsel. You must have people that you talk to. How do I show up that makes people, before going into why are people? Because only when you're self-aware enough to lead yourself to demonstrate influence and inspire dependability, can you then lead a team? Do you get what I mean?
I
you can't.
Hear what you're
and
saying.
Too many people judge themselves by their intentions. But see, my intention was that you are dependable, as opposed to by your outcomes. If you are a leader and your team is not dependable, and your aim is to make them dependable, you're failing at leadership. Irrespective of your intention.
I get what you're saying, because like for all the events that we have, the events that I host, we always start on time, regardless of who is in the room. So the first event we started, I think there was 5 or 6 people in the room. The second event, there was 50 people in the room.
On time, right?
On time.
And you see, you never went and told people.
I didn't.
We start on time.
People strolled in and found it going. And they were like, wait, what did I miss?
You see the way it permeated. You never sent a memo.
I did say,
dear guest,
no.
We will start on. No,
I know.
The first time you did it, and that's what culture is what you do. So they knew. And in fact, the first 2 people, probably, or they actually, the way we say, the way you react when you don't. The other people who came in, and I am sure
they asked.
Some people, you've even done.
They asked,
I'm sure can you please start again?
We cannot.
So if you say I keep time, and then people will enter the meeting late,
and you start again,
you're
actually not keeping time. So even like the sleep training sessions that I have, I always start on time, bang on time. And people come and they ask questions about, and I'm like, I actually can't go back for you. There's 60 people on the call.
Absolutely.
That would not be fair to the 60 people who are on time. So we are not going back, only forward.
And that is why, because I've seen how Margaret operates and your suppliers. I know you've other suppliers who've done their own, not follow those principles. Face the consequences. So, and that consistency is what leads to culture, which is what leads to a team. And how they operate.
How do you balance between taking risks and making calculated decisions?
So that's an oxymoron. It can't be a risk if it's a calculated decision.
Yeah, so how do you balance this? It's that
I never take risks.
You don't take risks.
Well, okay, let me put it this way.
Okay.
It's only perceived a risk if you've not calculated the decision.
I disagree. No, I disagree. You can take a risk even after you've calculated. You're like, this might not turn out.
But that's life.
Yes.
Yeah. But no one. So you started working out to lose weight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you consider it a risk?
No.
Yeah. It might not have worked out.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. There's no such thing as a risk if you've really thought about it. When it's risky, I don't think that's a smart decision. You see, the way I evaluate risk is I've not really thought about it. It's faith, like buying Bitcoin. Not really thought. And there are some levels where people take risk buying Bitcoin. There are some people who buy Bitcoin as a calculated decision.
Yeah, so how do you balance between those two?
Don't take risks.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. And it's not don't take risks. I really need to land this point very clearly. So, you see, decision is not just decision. There's an element of conviction that comes with a decision.
Yeah, like if I do this.
Yes, conviction is really bound by a core belief. Like you have a belief that this is the thing you should do.
Yes.
And that's why many people find it risky and nonsensical. But you in that space, you don't think like that.
Yeah.
Like if you ask any CEO and founder, that's why I say entrepreneurship sometimes is crazy. They are so convinced that people need this thing. And it doesn't really. And if you ask them, are you taking a risk? The answer would be no. They're so sure. Like, when we were starting Solve It, for example, no one was telling me, or no one could tell me this is a risky decision.
Yeah.
I was so convicted by the idea.
Yeah.
When we were starting Bean, I was so convicted by the idea.
Yeah.
It's not risky. Now, once you're convicted, which is the first element of the decision, the next is rationalization. Because you make the decision with your heart first. Now, there is where calculations
and how.
So you start thinking, okay, do I have enough money, etc.
Yeah.
Now, risk is when you have neither.
Yeah.
Risk is you have no conviction. You're doing something because everyone else is doing it. Like, let me buy a house because everyone's buying a house. And then when you go through the calculated decision, you don't even have the financial ability or anything, but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
Now that's risk.
That's a risk.
Yeah. And that to me is don't do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't balance. You just make calculated
Now,
decisions.
once you have the conviction and you've evaluated, there's a point which is probably where some may say it's risk, when you are more convicted than calculated.
Yeah. Because past the anyway, you can't see the future.
You
so
can't see the
this,
future.
You can't even decide.
Now there, I still don't determine that risk because you are your biggest risk factor. So you get what I mean?
You're
For
betting on
example,
yourself
if
all
you
the
don't
time.
have enough money, but you have time and effort, you can say, you know what, I'm going to solve this money problem by working double time.
Okay.
So, but when it comes to decision making, because I think that's what this question really is, the only good decision is one that's made, not one that's right or one that's wrong. Right? That's the only good decision. Right?
Because, make it and go.
Yes, because none of us are entitled to a certain outcome of our decision. And I think what paralyzes people is what if you're trying to guarantee that this decision you make. But if you think about it, how many people are in this earth that are more deserving or are as deserving? What makes you think that you have some magic wand to guarantee? What ego is that? It's such ego to say that. And then fear. You've used fear. Your fear of failure. Who said you're supposed to win?
Yeah.
But your only responsibility is to try.
Yeah.
So I would say that just make the decision, because you can't lose what you don't have. And, also, there's another thing. Be smart about quitting. The way you're smart about starting, be smart about quitting. Don't be there 10 years a slave.
Fail
You've
fast.
never paid yourself a salary in your business.
Fail fast,
so
fail forward.
If you walk through a door and you don't like what you see, please have the emotional intelligence to walk out and not be caught by pride to say, but now what will I tell people? What will people think? People are not
thinking about you.
And they are busy in their own lives, making their own decisions.
Good one. Yeah, that's a very good one. This is the last one.
Two more.
What is the best piece of advice you've received from a mentor or a role model?
So there's so many. There's so many. But I would like to honor my mother-in-law in this time, because she's here with us. And so, a memory of hers came to mind.
Okay.
So, I left a job here in the UK to come back to Kenya to start my business.
Yeah.
And one of my first gigs was a facilitation of a training.
Yes.
And I'd never facilitated a training, conducted a training before. And I was talking to your mom about it, and she showed me so she opened her phone and showed me photos of the whiteboard where facilitators write their notes, etc.
Yeah.
And she asked me, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
And I was like, but this one is so untidy, this one is so nini, and she was like, you can already see what could be improved.
Yet
these are people who've been paid to do what you are going to do. So the lesson that landed, which she actually articulated, was, you're always already
ready.
You're already so it gave me a really big confidence that there's your skills, but there's also your gift. God has given all of us gifts, and you try to control situation by enhancing your skill, but always remember God has given you a gift, and mine is discernment. So I could discern what needs to be done.
Yes.
And I needed to just believe I'm already ready.
Yes.
To go and be the best facilitator these people are, because they are no better judge than I am.
No.
So, and actually after that, that first event is what led to my first client, and the journey just moved after that. So, it gave me some really strong self-belief and confidence that whatever industry it is, whatever task it is, I'm already ready to achieve it and to succeed at it because of who I am, not what I know.
Wow. Yeah. That's a lesson for life.
That's a lesson for life. And if I don't know something, I just need to go learn it. But who I am is already enough to succeed at that task.
Yeah.
So that was a very pivotal, and of course it fed off the foundation of my upbringing with my mom and dad. But in that situation, that was such a big reminder and affirmation and lesson that has.
I love that. And, I really love that.
She's one of my favorite people.
Indeed. Yeah. I see you guys together.
She's my person.
Okay, let's play a game, honey. Yes. Would you rather have the ability to fly or be invisible?
Wow. Fly. Because I'd have to be such a criminal to do what I want to do.
Criminal?
Yes. Because if you're invisible, the only benefits you can do is sneak.
Okay, yeah. And
your work is sneaking.
Okay.
So you're sneaking into planes to go places, and all the scanners nowadays, even if they can't see you, they can see your heat signature.
Yeah.
So literally there's no benefit to your life other than no one can see you. But flying, I'm like, I'm bored. I'm going to eat a croissant in France.
Okay.
Yeah. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Would you rather have unlimited free travel for a year or unlimited free meals at your favorite restaurant for a year? Favorite restaurants?
Is it just me or my family?
It's unlimited.
If it's with my family, I'd go with actually, quick math. I'd go with the unlimited meals.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Who wants to travel? I'm not going anywhere for more than
fast traveling. You know, actually, I have a friend, our cousin, who works at an airline.
Yes.
And they only pay tax.
Yeah. On all flights.
And I asked her,
why
aren't you everywhere?
Yes.
Why aren't you everywhere?
Right.
Because those work from home. Why aren't you everywhere? And she was like, what? You think the ticket is the only thing?
Yeah.
When you get there, there's Uber, there's food, there's the hotel, there's whatever. So traveling sounds nice. But the actual and also she has kids and whatnot. So actually I had to go, and then imagine not buying food.
Aish.
The amount of money, consider with this economy. The
would
amount
be out
of money you have.
Why should I like you
go holiday? For every 365 days.
Imagine. But we'd get tired. You know you get tired.
Never.
You know you get tired of restaurant food.
Never.
You do.
It's unlimited. So you talk to the chef. You're like, kesho salad.
Ugali.
Yeah, kesho ugali burger.
I am. Would you rather have the power to read minds or the power to see into the future?
See into the future. That would be too much work. I don't want to know people's inner thoughts. You know, people, I just feel people are strange. Like, there's what you see as people, then there's what they think. Like, I know if you read if you saw my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't want to see your thoughts. Marriage over. Marriage over. If you saw my thoughts, if I saw your thoughts.
So please, let me see into the future.
You can never control what you think, but what you say.
Is managed.
Last one. Would you rather always have to speak your mind or never be able to speak again?
I'd love to always speak my mind. Yeah.
This is now you're giving everybody insight into your mind.
Yeah, but you see, you're speaking your mind. So it's what you think.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It's still managed.
It's not.
Yeah, it's your.
It's not managed.
Anyway, I would rather speak my mind.
Really?
Yeah, because I can choose when to speak.
No, you have to speak your mind. That's what the question is. You have to speak your mind.
Like, I'm just in a supermarket and I think someone is ugly.
Yeah. You have to say you're ugly. Excuse me. Hi, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Why are you
ugly?
Sorry
to disturb
Why
you.
are you ugly?
But no. It's a tough one. Never speak.
For me, it wasn't even tough. For me, I was just like, I would never be able to speak again.
Yeah, because you're ratchet. I'm not.
You are ratchet.
I'm not ratchet. I'm not ratchet. You're ratchet and nasty.
Alright, so that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Did you enjoy being on the channel again?
I enjoyed.
So thank you for coming even though you have a headache.
Thank you, baby.
Get better soon.
Alright.
Like, get better. Right now you're really bad.
You know, if you marry well, you might not need enemies.
Until next time,
Well.
bye.
Choose well. You won't need enemies.